Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm not starting off this video in my front room or in my little studio as usual. I'm out running. I'm 15 minutes into a warm-up for a 30-minute all-out effort. I don't know if you can tell, hopefully you can even hear me to start with, but the wind is horrific today. So before I start this 30-minute all-out effort, let me get some excuses out the way. 1, the wind. 2, I'm definitely carrying some fatigue in my legs from this week's training so far. 3, didn't have the best night's sleep. I've got 3 minutes left of a warm-up, a couple of strides, and then I am off and going to go for it. Hopefully, I think last time I did this, I did 6:25 minutes per mile, so hopefully anything below that will be good, but it's so windy. I'm not sure if you can hear me too well, so I'm going to crack on, get this done, and then we can run through it when I'm back at home, not in the wind.
I've been in your waters. I'm looking for sure. I've never been so close before. It's one way or the other.
Let me tell you, I'm probably like an absolute state right now. I am in bits. That was horrible. That was so hard, especially with that wind. I tried to do a bit like of an out and back, so it was kind of fair, so I had wind behind me and in front of me. But like I said, I haven't done an effort like that since my last time I did that, which was back in November time, and I've definitely improved. Definitely gone way quicker in that one. I reckon I averaged somewhere around the 6:10 minutes per mile, which is a massive increase for me. So but we'll go through all of that when I get back. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure I log this session, because obviously it's quite a key one with it being, obviously it's quite a key one with it being kind of like an all-out effort. So and you might want to compare and see where you are compared to me, and it's nice for me to look back and see what sort of numbers I hit and stuff. So I wanted to make sure I document this one. There is a purpose for this session, which I'll go through when I get back. I don't want to stand out here all too long because the wind's horrendous. I'm trying to use this to shield me a little bit, but don't know if it's working. But yeah, I've got still, like I said, I've still got my warm down to do, which will be like 15-20 minutes I reckon, and then finito, session done and out the way. So horrible. Honestly thought I was going to die, but let's get this warm it down done.
So I've just got back home, finally got out of the wind and got the run done, completed. Initial thoughts before we even talk about stats on the run. It was hard. I've forgotten what it feels like to push yourself over a longer distance, or not a long distance, but you know, basically like 30 minutes is the time. It's a horrible time because like an hour, for example, you can't go all out for an hour. You can go pretty close to being all out, but you know, still fairly comfortable. 30 minutes is almost a time where you can not sprint, but you can really go for it. And your heart rate, I mean, my heart rate, I'll show you it when we get to the stats, but I was, you know, it was like redlining the whole time, which is, so it's like the most uncomfortable you can be. It's almost like 5k pace, but a little bit slower maybe. So yeah, horrible, really hurt. Calves are in bits, legs are sore. But overall, it wasn't too bad. I think given the better conditions, I could have done a lot better. But this isn't really for pace. I think I might have mentioned this at the start of the video, but if not, the reason that we do this sort of 30-minute test and why we're doing this, because really, you know, it takes a lot out of you doing 30-minute tests. So what is the benefit? It might not be a huge amount of training benefit, but what it does do, it allows you to, kind of gives you a goal moving forward and benchmarks for certain things. So for example, doing this test specifically, this 30-minute test, it gave me a threshold heart rate. I don't know exactly what that is yet. I haven't been through and got to all of that, but yeah, I think basically the way it works is you take your average heart rate for the last 20 minutes of the effort, and I think that's your threshold heart rate or somewhere near there. I don't know exactly, I'm not a coach or anything, but yeah, that's basically now given me that data. So then once you get your threshold heart rate data, you can then base your zones. So it's the way I think Harry, my coach, if you don't know Harry Palmer, YouTube channel in the link below, he's very knowledgeable. Basically that gives him an idea as to where my zone 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 should be for running. So going forward, I know that when we say, you know, or when is in the plan to do zone 5 efforts, we've got reliable data now to going forward that I'm going to be in zone 5 based off what I did today in the run. A good example of this quickly is my heart rate is abnormally high, I think. I see a lot of athletes and their heart rate, their sort of max heart rate is sort of maybe around the 180 to 190. Again, I don't know how accurate this is. I do just use a Garmin watch for my heart rate data. I know I should get a chest strap, and I will do hopefully one day, but the highest I've seen my heart rate on this is 210 beats per minute, which was actually on an FTP test on the bike. Again, take that as you will. I don't know how accurate it is, but that's that's obscene. Like, that's maybe like a 6 to 10 year old might be able to get that sort of heart rate, but for someone of my age, 24, that's very high. So yeah, that kind of gives you a reason. So my heart rate, you know, rather than taking the average for my age at 24, and the average heart rate for a zone 2 run might be 140 to 150 beats per minute, for example, but because I've got such a high heart rate, my zone 2 sort of heart rate zone might be between 160 and 170. That is probably not, that sounds quite high, but you get the idea. It could be a hell of a lot different to then if you just guessed at a random number, and then I would be, you know, potentially overtraining, undertraining, wouldn't be getting the right training benefit. So doing this test now we know for sure that my zones going forward for my runs are going to be accurate, and I'm going to be getting the best out of sort of the most out of my training. So that is why we've done the test. Let's talk about the results. Previously, I didn't do this test exactly, but I did. It was an all-out 10k, I think I did, and I did it in, I think it was 39 minutes or 40 minutes, which ended up being about ended up being about a 6:25 to 6:30 minute per mile, somewhere around there. So if that was, you know, let's just go with it being a 6:20 per minute per mile would have been for 30 minutes. I ended up doing around 5 miles within the 30 minutes. I think it was just slightly under, which puts me at just over a 6 minute. Well, I'll always put some screenshots up next to me so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think I averaged, it was just over a 6 minute per mile, probably like maybe a 6:08, 6:07 minute per mile, which for me is a huge improvement. I've never really seen 5 minute per miles on my watch before, unless I'm doing sort of shorter intervals. But you know, I managed to see that a few times in certain sections in this run. Sorry, so you know, a 6:05 to 6:10 minute per mile. Very happy with that. That put me actually, according to Strava, a new 5k PB of 18 minutes and 41 seconds. Again, I haven't done any all-out effort, so if I went back and tried to do a 5k all-out effort, I do think that I could actually better that, because obviously this is for 30 minutes, not 18 minutes. So, you know, an extra 12 minutes of running, I could have maybe, you know, potentially could have got down to nearer the 18 or maybe even into the 17s if it was a good day for a 5k, which, so, you know, that's a huge improvement as compared to my last one. Very, very happy with that. Especially considering some of the, you know, excuses that I made this morning before I run. The fact that it was horrifically windy. I did try and keep down country lanes where there was big sort of bushes and trees either side, so I didn't really feel the wind all too much. There were some sections where I definitely did. One mistake I did make is I thought, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought I was picking a fairly flat route. It wasn't that flat. Apparently I did 410 foot of elevation going throughout the run, which is, you know, it's not flat at all, really. So again, if you had have taken that away, could I have been in the 5 minute per miles? Maybe. Oh, apparently hit a 2 mile PB as well of 11:59. So that's, there you go, that's, you know, sub 6 minute per miles. Heart rate. So this is where I say my heart rate is very, very high compared to most people. I'll tell you, I don't have the average heart rate, unfortunately. Just because I'm looking at it on Strava, I could make a rough guess. Rough guess being probably around 192 or 3 beats per minute average, which is extremely high for 30 minutes. You know, that's actually very high. I've definitely put in a good shift. So yeah, we'll say that's the average. Hang on, let me just brighten this. Got well grey outside well quickly. Minging. Yeah, so that's heart rate data, and then you can see sort of the pace bits. Obviously the first 3 miles were, first 3 miles were warm up, and then it goes into the sort of efforts. My cadence was 174 steps per minute. That was on average. Obviously going the slower bits at the start, that might have brought that down slightly. It said that my max cadence was 188. So it might have been more around the 180 for the actual effort, which again, you know, that I'm looking, that's kind of where I want to be. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I think that's pretty much all the data. Like I've said in every other video, you can just go on my Strava and you can see all the information and stats that your heart desires on there about the run. But this is kind of, it's a fairly key workout, and one that I wanted to, because it's a test, it's one that I wanted to make sure I include on the channel. It's an important one. And also, hopefully not too soon, but if I do this again, it'll be nice to kind of compare back, and you guys can see the progress that I'm making, and hopefully maybe on the next one I'll be in the 5 minute per miles, which would be really, really cool, and something that I never thought would be possible for me. But yeah, so overall, think I could have done better. Circumstances weren't great, but I still definitely put in a very hard shift, and I really did give it everything that I had. By the end, honestly, I could have just collapsed and lied on the floor and gone to bed for a few hours, because it hurt a lot. It was tough. So I'm happy with the effort that I put in, I suppose. And it's just started raining. How lovely. Hope this doesn't carry on. I've got a 3-hour ride tomorrow and I really wanted to do it outdoors. I think I'll end the video there. If you had any questions about the run or about anything that I might have mentioned, then please do let me know in the comments. I'll try and reply to every single one of them, / I do reply to every single one of them. Don't know why I said I tried to. Makes me sound like a big YouTuber. Not. I reply to literally every single one of them because I don't get that many comments. So yeah, if you do have any questions, let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed. Please do subscribe to the channel if you wish. I'm trying to do, if you didn't know, this is my kind of journey to my first ever Ironman, or iron distance event, shall I say. That will be all. I shall see you in the next video for some more triathlon related content.
I've been in your waters.